It's Perp back with another video, and I just got done finishing up the first season of Netflix's Resident Evil. Now, before I get into this, man, I gotta let y'all know, I gotta apologize. I should have had this video up sooner, but I got this new job and they're just working me like a slave, and I'm just in so much pain. So if if I sound weird, just know it's because of that. But anyways, back to Resident Evil, the Netflix series. Resident Evil has been just an interesting franchise as far as the live action goes. You know, the games I feel like are pretty okay with most people, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about the most recent games. It just comes to the live adaptation. It just always they always seem to kind of miss the mark. Like they just came out with a movie last year called Welcome to Raccoon City, and that I feel like was more faithful to just the games and just the overall story, even though Leon absolutely didn't is not Leon in there. That aside, I feel like I'd probably watch Raccoon City before I watch this again, just to kind of give you a taste of where my headspace is at. I'm gonna definitely talk about spoilers because there were some things that were really frustrating in this series, but also there were some things that were very entertaining. So where should we start? Let's start with just the overall story. Okay, you got this main character named Jade that you get introduced to, and it's like she's narrating, letting you know what's happening. There's this outbreak, this virus is just everywhere, killing everybody, and it's the year 2036. Yeah, and she's pretty much trying to figure out how she can fix things or come up with some type of solution to stop this from spreading if she can. And I was really sold with the first episode because you had this giant caterpillar, which I did not expect to come out of nowhere and just fuck Jade up. Like, literally picks Jade up and just like slams her on a car. And I'm like, yo, she should be dead. Which is another gripe I have about this series is Jade has the crazy amount of plot armor I've ever seen on a character. Well, now I'm not gonna say ever, but in this series, the plot armor is crazy, bro. And we're definitely gonna have to talk about that ending because that was some bullshit too. Um, so then we get a flashback, or they go back to like the year 2022. You know what I'm saying? And it's like 14-year-old Jade, and you see her sister Billie. And here's another gripe that I have about this show is just everything is just so on the nose. Like you have this Billie Eilish song playing, and Jade's sister's name is Billie, spelled exactly, and she has the same getup, the same. I'm just like, man, you couldn't be way on. Like that shit was just weird to me. And this is probably the biggest issue with this whole entire first season is the teenage versions of Jade and Billie, because these are the most annoying characters I've ever seen. Like one of the two of the most annoying characters. So, you know, I was kind of sold on it at first, and you know, you also have Wesker in this. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. And he's played by, I forget his name, but they race swapped his character, which I can kind of see when you look at the first like promo that they put out for this, like when they're showing off the whole cast, you're like, this doesn't even feel like Resident Evil. And that's another thing about this, man. Before I kind of continue about this, my thoughts on the overall series is that it lacks identity. It really lacks identity. There's some things that are Resident Evil-esque, but that's about it. You know, there's references to there are liquors in this, which that was probably my favorite moment of the whole entire series. Is that whole liquor scene was really dope. Um, but yeah, just the whole story going back to it. So what ends up happening is like possibly the dumbest like setup for just, a zombie breakout. You know what I'm saying? So what ends up happening, because I want to just skip to the shit, right? Billie and Jade, they move into like New Raccoon City and stuff like that, and they don't really have a close relationship with their father because the father's always working. And I really like what they did with Wessler's character in here, because that twist at the end, towards the end, was fucking crazy. I did not see that coming. But pretty much what ends up happening though is they go to this new school. She's getting picked on. I'm talking about Billie. She gets picked on by this girl randomly. That shit was just weird to me and just out of place. Like, nobody would just really come up to you and just be that, like, that weird. I don't know. But anyways, so at some point in the first episode, we get this scene of, oh, let me back up real quick, because this is very key to just how stupid this shit was, the setup, right? Keep in mind, Billie is a vegan, right? So she's sitting up in Umbrella Corporation, or the company or whatnot, and she happens to see a bunch of caged rabbits and comes up with the idea with Jade to, like, yo, let's break into Umbrella Corporation and just like take footage of what they're doing to these animals and stuff. I'm like, bro, are you serious? And then what ends up happening is, like, conveniently, Jade's able to, like, just figure out the password, how to just break into shit and just I apologize. I'm a little frustrated, but at the same time, like I said, it's entertaining at some points. Not too much though. The dumbest shit that Billie does here, and I don't feel any regret, or any type of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But she gets the key card, and there's this black box that obviously that should not be opened. They open it, and it's a fucking dog. It's a zombie dog, and the zombie dog bites Billie. And then they spend like 5 episodes just dragging ass and just. I was thinking that they were going to kind of we're going to get to see Billie's turn in the first episode, but no, they drag this whole thing out, and I feel like that was the biggest hindrance of this show. On top of Jade having plot armor like a motherfucker, and just everything just so conveniently just is just there. If Jade was in The Walking Dead, there's no way that she's like blitzing through a bunch of infected or just walkers, bro. She's dead. She's dead. And how this whole first season ends, it becomes like, you find out also in the beginning that Jade has a daughter, you know what I'm saying, that, doesn't really come into play until later in the season. And just, I feel like the pacing and the tone is way off in this whole entire series, man. It's just, from the music, it switches to like a CW show to a Netflix show. And it's very weird. It's very off-putting. I could see a lot of people just being like, nah, I'm good. But everything with Wesker and just like, finding out that he cloned himself and he has all these different clones. Shoutouts to Bert, because Bert is probably like the best one. When I saw that, I automatically thought of Blade. When you see, you already know. If you saw it, you already know. You know what I'm saying? I just think overall, this series lacks just identity. You had this character come in early and get killed off in the middle of the season called Baxter. He was kind of like, he almost gave me like Jack Black vibes. It was like, yo, is this supposed to be like a comedy? Or like, they do insert a lot of comedic stuff in here where it just doesn't really fit. It really doesn't fit. Only person it really fits with is Bert, because of just the nature of who he is. Overall, I just think that this was pretty sloppy as a first season. They could improve in season 2. The butting heads of Jade and Billie, and how Billie became like the main villain all of a sudden, it just didn't really make sense. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of, I don't know. It just didn't make sense with me. I just don't know how I feel about it. I could see some people liking this. I don't think that this show is like really bad, but it definitely is pretty mid. You know what I'm saying? It's not a bad show. It's watchable. Like I said, you're going to be laughing most of the time because of the stupidity and stuff that just nothing makes sense what characters are doing most of the time. And just like the younger versions of Jade and Billie are probably the most annoying part about this, and I feel like they should have really cut that short. Or just, I don't know, man. Hopefully they don't introduce nobody like a Leon, or, there was no hints or mention of that, but I do see how they're kind of cherry picking certain things from the games and stuff and putting them into this. So definitely for hardcore fans, they could definitely be like, "Oh, look at that." Um, like I just said, it just lacks identity, man. It doesn't know what it wants to be at a lot of times. Like it doesn't know. It's not scary. Like the infected don't even look menacing. They're really dumb. It's just they're not even scary. You know what I'm saying? The most intimidating thing in this show was the big ass spider and the lickers. And then there's this big ass alligator, which it just the CG blood. I don't know, man. I just think that if you're going to do a zombie like story, look at something like Black Summer or even look at The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is like still the best zombie show, even though the later seasons went downhill. Those later seasons are still better than everything that comes out zombie related. So yeah, I don't know. I want to know your thoughts on this. Also, shouts to Evelyn. I almost forgot to mention Evelyn. I think she was a fantastic villain in this. She really seemed like she had fun with this. The fact that she was going to kill her own son, which, let me talk about the ending real quick, because that pissed me off, right? It ends with Jade getting shot in the stomach, which she should pretty much be dead. It obviously sets up season 2 for her to try to get her daughter back. But they tease like a tyrant type of character or one of those things, and they didn't show him in this finale, which is like, what the fuck? Why wouldn't you show him? And they just tease him for season. It was bullshit, man. But let me know how you guys feel about this in the comments below. Have you seen this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.